so much for inviting me to the virtual summer course. So I'll be talking about crafting the service environment. Yeah. So let me share with you my screen first. Can you see my screen here?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So the course is already ended, right?
Yes, this is the final day of summer course.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
how long is it, the summer course?
It's about 2 weeks, ma'am.
2
It
weeks
starts from 4th of July until now.
until now. All right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So the topic that been given to me is about crafting the service environment. Yeah. Okay. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Dr. Wan Rashida binti Wan Nawang. I am the lecturer at the Faculty of Economics and Muamalat, University Science Islam Malaysia. So in the picture here, you can see there's a blue building. Yeah. This one with the dome here is the mosque. And this is our chancellery. And here is on the right is our library. So it's a very big campus, but it's very far and deep into the end of the road. Yeah. So if you come to Malaysia, please come to University Science Islam Malaysia, or USIM we call it. Yeah. Okay, so for this topic, I will be talking about 4 main things. Yeah, the first one, what is the purpose of service environments? Second one is understanding customer responses to service environments. The third one is dimension of the service environment, and finally is the conclusion. I put it here, putting it all together. It means that conclude the things that we have discussed today. Yeah? Okay, let's go with the first one. What is the purpose of service environment? So service environment, it serves 4 different purposes. Yeah? The first one is to shape the customer's experience and their behavior. Secondly is to support the image, positioning and differentiation of the firms. The third one is part of the value proposition of the firm. Value proposition is the benefit that the firm communicates to their customer about their product and services. And finally is to facilitate the service encounter and enhance productivity. Because the service, we can only experience the service, but now with the coming of the servicescape, so we can see, not only we experience, but we can see with our own senses that this company is doing something in order to get our attraction. Okay, let's go one by one of this purpose. The first one is to shape the customer experience and their behaviors. So the main reason why the service environment exists, service environment here we can refer to the physical layout of the organization. Yeah? So why is it exist? Because we want to create, the organization wants to create a message, wants to deliver a message, wants to get attention from the from the customers, and also they want to create some emotional attachment with their customers. Okay, emotional attachment here is by using colors, by using textures, sound, scents, and it is more relaxed, and you get to feel something when you go to the firm or the organization, or when you go to the shop, as compared to previously. Previously, the environment is very dull, so the customer don't get a lot of experience when they use the product and service offered by the organization or the company or the shop. Okay, secondly is to support the image, positioning, and also to make the company or the organization or the shop is different from one to the other. Yeah. Okay, I put it here, the example of the restaurants at the 2 different hotels. The first one is Grand Hyatt. This is a 5-star hotel in Kuala Lumpur. And the second one is the first star hotel in Kuala Lumpur also. Yeah? So you got to see the differences in terms of the layout here, in terms of the image, in terms of how do they portray their hotel. Yeah? Of course, because of the star rating. So you got to see a huge difference between the two. Yeah? Okay, the restaurant at the Grand Hyatt here, it's facing the Twin Tower, the very famous Twin Tower in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, the KLCC. If you've been here, you must go to KLCC. Down there is the shopping mall, yeah? The Surya KLCC, we call it a luxury shopping mall, where you got to find lots of luxury items there. Yeah? Okay, and the layout here for the one-star hotel is very humble, I would say, and also quite boring if you can see it. You cannot see anything outside. It's just a four walls here as compared to the glass wall here. Yeah? So when you using the servicescape here or service environment, you got to show what is it the benefit that you want to share to your customer. Yeah? So you want the customer to get a good experience, yeah, after they stay at your hotel, so they can share the good experience with other people, and at the same time they can also attract other people to come to their hotels. Okay, servicescape as a part of value proposition. I think you already know what value proposition is. It is a statement that communicates the benefits of the product and services that the company can offer. Yeah? Okay, servicescape here is about the physical layout of the stores. Yeah? It is a physical surrounding which helps appropriate feelings and reactions in customers and employees. Yeah? For example, here I put a Starbucks. Yeah? So everyone interested to go to the Starbucks because it feels like home. Yeah? It doesn't feel like you are at an ordinary coffee shop. Eh? So you can work there. It's some sort of home office as well to some people. Eh? So the ambience and the layout that the Starbucks puts, it attract the people or the customers to come to their shop, even though the coffee is very expensive as compared to the other coffee offered by the other coffee shops. Yeah? And then we have Universal Studios Singapore, because they also want to give some experience to a pleasure experience to the customers. Genting Theme Park KL. Yeah? So this is the refurbished Genting Theme Park. It is very, very beautiful. If you come to the Malaysia, you also can go to Genting Theme Park because it's very near to KL. And also I put it here, Angkor Dreamland, Indonesia. I've never been to Indonesia. Hopefully soon. Yeah, I plan to go to Indonesia soon, inshallah. Okay, and also we have a servicescape, as I mentioned, as the physical layout. It is core part of the value proposition as well. In KL, we have a new bookstore coming from Japan, which called Sutaya Books. Yeah? It's located also in one of the shopping mall in KL. So this is the layout of the bookshop. It is not only a book. Yeah? You can also eat in there, and you can also spend long time in there. Yeah? Either you read a book with your kids, with your family, and so on and so forth. Yeah? So it is not an ordinary bookstore as compared to the old bookstore that we have previously. Or in Indonesia, I think you called it toko, is it? Toko buku, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because I've seen Apa Ada Dengan Cinta 1 and 2. So I've seen some of the street shops in Indonesia as well. We have that in Malaysia too, but it is not very popular now as compared to this kind of bookstore. So this is a very interesting bookstore which you can spend lots and lots of time in the bookstore. Not only for reading books, but you can also having lunch or having dinner in this bookstore too. So this is the servicescape that I am talking about. Yeah, so they are renovate or reformed the ordinary layout of the book shop to the very what we called it hipster kind of situation or surrounding in the bookstore. Okay, and the second point that I will talk about is understanding customer responses to service environment. So as a marketer or as a business person, we need to understand how is it our customer reaction to our product and services, and also to the offices that we have, yeah? Because we serve the business to the customer. Yeah? We don't create the business for ourselves. We create the business to attract the customer, and in the hope that they will become our customer forever, and there will be buying stuff from us from time to time. Therefore, in order to do that, we have to understand our customer in terms of their response, in terms of their behavior, in terms of their perceptions, in terms of their emotions, and everything related to the customer. So in understanding customer responses here, we have to quite a different models. That model, it means that the framework that's been designed by the researcher to understand the reaction from the customer. The first one here, we have the model from Mehrabi-Russell stimulus response model. So according to Mehrabi-Russell, the customer feelings is very important in the service environment, not about their perceptions. Yeah, so the feelings when they because service is all about the feelings, it's all about the experience. Therefore, the feelings from the customer can attract them to stay with our company for the longest that we want. Okay? So here, so according to the Mehrabi-Russell here model, so they say that the feelings are the key drivers of the customer responses. So if we create the layout of our company or our shop, which attract the feelings of the customer, they will keep coming back to our shop. It doesn't matter whether they come only for going around or they come for purchasing. But the most important thing here is the feelings. When we create a feelings of happiness to our customer, so they will keep coming back to our store. Similarly with what has been done by Starbucks here. Yeah? So I believe that Starbucks also there in Indonesia, right? So everyone is going for Starbucks, not because of the coffee, some of them. So they go there because of the surrounding. Okay? So when you want to do your assignment, you go there because of the free internet. Yeah, and then you just buy 1 cup of the coffee, and then you can enjoy the free internet for a few hours. Yeah, and then you got to have some sort of feelings of pleasure. Yeah, so when you go to that particular shop, so that kind of feelings that they want in the customer to keep them coming back to their shop. Okay, this is the conclusion that we can get from the Mehrabi and Russell stimulus model here. It is a simple yet fundamental model of how people respond to environment that illustrates the environment, its conscious and unconscious perceptions, the feelings, the typical outcome variable is approach or avoidance. There are some of the shops that when we go, we don't want to go there anymore, okay? Because of that kind of unpleasant feeling that we have. So that is about the Mehrabi-Russell stimulus response model. So it is about the feeling. Okay, okay, and then Russell also talk about the model of affect in understanding the consumer responses. Okay, model of affect here is model of understanding the mood, the feeling, and also the attitudes of the individual. It also talking about the same thing, yeah? Talking about the pleasant and unpleasant feeling, arousing, whether it is more exciting as compared to sleepy or boring. Yeah? So these kind of things that we have to look at when we want to make sure that how to get the response from the customer in terms of our service that we provided to them. Yeah? Okay, so the conclusion that we can get from the Russell models here is emotional responses to environment can be described along two main dimensions. Here, Russell talks about emotion, the pleasurable or unpleasurable, the feelings of boring and also excitement. When we go to one service company or service shop, the pleasure, for example, the arousal. So how is it affect the feelings of the individual to coming back to the store? Separate the cognitive emotions from the emotional dimension. So it is more attract to the emotional side of the customer as compared to the cognitive model. Cognitive model is something related to your brain where you think more about the situation. Okay, for example, the barber shop. So you can see the differences in terms of the barber shop now as compared to 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So the barber shop is very boring as compared to now is very hipster, where they play music, very soothing music. So and the layout of the shop also is very interesting, very smooth to your eyes. So you got to have a different feeling. So those kind of emotions that is created the feelings of the individual when they step into to the shop. Okay, drivers, what are the factors of the affect? The affect is something related to your mood, as I mentioned just now, moods, feelings, and attitudes. It caused by perception and cognitive process of any degree of complexity. So the more complex the situation, the more power the affection that you have. For example, if you go to the hotel and you get lost into the hotel because they don't have a sign, because you go to the shopping mall and you want to park the car because of the sign is not there, so you tend to get lost and you have developed a powerful effect to that kind of situation. Powerful effect, it can be a negative and positive one. So if it is a negative one, so it means that we are not going to go to that particular store anymore because we don't feel the satisfaction of using the parking lot when we want to go to the shop. Determines how people feel in a service setting. If higher levels of cognitive process are triggered, the interpretation of the process determines people's feelings. Okay, as I mentioned just now. Okay, and then we have another one, if is behavioral consequences of the effect. So when we have certain mood, so of course it will influence our behavior. So if we feel the mood of boring, so it will be shown in our behavior. Okay, so the moody feelings that we have, it will also shown in the behavior of us. So it is directly influenced from the effect to the behavior, right? Okay, so an integrative framework. So we have a lot of framework here. Why we have a lot of framework and why we have a lot of models? Because as a marketer and researcher, we need to do lots of research. So in doing a research, we have discovered many other factors that coming out from the response that we get from the customer. So the response that we get and the input that we receive from the customer, so the researcher, they will develop a different model in understanding the consumer behavior. So this one, the servicescape model here, it identifies the main dimension in a service environment and views them holistically. According to the servicescape model here, when we want to design the physical layout of our shop, we must look at them in a holistic way, in a wholesome. We have to see it in a consumer perspective, we have to see it in the organizational perspective, we have to see it in the employee responses as well. So internal customer and employee responses also is very important in the servicescape model. Not only we look at the customer, but we look at the people who work for us as well. So without the people who work for us, and if they don't feel satisfied with the organization, so they don't work for us. So if they don't work for us, so who's going to serve the customer, right? So the most important thing for the servicescape model here is the employee responses. Yeah. So in a few days back, everyone is talking about how bad the Heathrow airport is at the moment. Yeah. The chaos, people lost their baggage, yeah, and the baggage is not being what do you call it? Not being put systematically, yeah. So being dumped in one space, yeah. So because they don't have enough employees, yeah? Or perhaps because employees are not satisfied with the service that they get or with the benefits that they get. So the most important thing, if you have the good product and services, you have the good layout, but you also need to have a good employee, yeah? According to the servicescape model here. All right, and we go next to the dimensions of the service environment. Okay, so in designing the service or servicescape or the physical layout of the company or the shop, there are four main dimensions that we have to look at. Yeah? The first one is in terms of the ambient conditions, the comfortable conditions, the characteristics of environment pertaining to our five senses. Yeah? Because service, we get to only experience it. Yeah? We cannot see with our eyes because service is intangible as compared to the product, right? And spatial layout and functionality, the floor plan, whether it is functional or not functional, and then signs, symbols, and artifacts. This also will help the customer find their way while they are having a service in the company or in the shop. Okay, let's go one by one of these four main dimensions. The first one is ambient condition. Ambient conditions are perceived both separately and holistically and include the lighting and color scheme, the size and shape, the sounds such as noise and music, the temperature sense, and many others. Yeah. Okay, if you go to the spa, for example, yeah, so the lighting in the spa is very dim, yeah, and they play a very relaxing sound, relaxing music, yeah, and also they put some scents, aromatherapy scents. Yeah. So in Indonesia, there's a lot of this, right? Because you are very well known with the spa, with the traditional spa. Yeah? As compared to here in Malaysia, we have quite a few of Indonesian spa here, and that give the experience of Bali situation or Indonesia situation or Jakarta situation for those who are not able to go to Jakarta, to Indonesia yet. For example, myself lah, yeah? So I haven't been to Jakarta, to Indonesia, and hope to go there soon. So this kind of layout, it will give a different experience to the customer. Okay? So, and also they can be a good experience and also they can be a bad experience. So in order to understand whether our layout giving a good or bad experience to the customer, we have to do research. There's no other way other than you ask the customer whether they like the situation or they don't like the situation, and ask them for recommendation. What are they recommend in order to improve the situation? Yeah? So that is about the ambient condition. Okay, the next one is in terms of the music. Okay? So the sound of the music, when you go to Starbucks, for example, so they play a music, a very up-to-date music, yeah? Up-to-date playlist song. Yeah? So if you go to theme park, they will play a very loud music, yeah? A very fast tempo, and so on and so forth. So music also play a part when we want to design the servicescape for our organization or our shop. Yeah? Okay, and similarly, according with the music, people have a different perception. Yeah? There are people who loves R&B music. There are people who loves rock music. Yeah? And there are people who also doesn't love that. Yeah? Do not love that. So and then it comes to our customer segment. Yeah? So when we have a service or a business, so we should have our customer the segment of our customer and also our target customer. So we already know what kind of customer that we are serving, and we already know what kind of preferences that our customer that we serve. Yeah. So from there, we can choose what kind of music that we think that will be available and also will be pleasant to our customer. Okay, and scents. Yeah, in terms of the scent, now there's a lot of aromatherapy scents available in the market, and also the shops or the businesses, they are also having that as well. Yeah. So in Malaysia here, we have quite a lot of Japanese, Japanese retail store coming in. Yeah. For example, we have Muji. I believe in Indonesia also got Muji. Yeah. So I am very, very interested, or I am very into Muji. So every time I go to the shopping mall, I will go to Muji, because whenever I step in Muji, I feel very calm, very comfortable, very minimalist. Yeah, because the Japanese, they promote the minimalist culture, and so they have a very minimum furnitures, minimum things in their house. Yeah, and minimum clothing. Yeah. So only enough for 1 week. So they recycle that for another week. Yeah. So they don't collect lots of clothes. So in Muji, they will use this scent, yeah, at the front of the shop. Yeah? So they will switch on of these scents, and it kind of smell, a very pleasant smell, very comfortable smell. Okay? So it helps calm down the shoppers while doing shopping at Muji. Yeah? Okay, so this is the aromatherapy that will have a different fragrance and will have a different effects on people. Yeah? For example, here we have lavender, and it is also it is used for muscle relaxation, soothing, very relaxing to relax the individual. Yeah? So we have a different fragrance as well. So there's a lot more fragrance. I put it here, only a few. Okay, and also the colors. The colors can also give a different meaning to a different people. Okay? So the choice of colors that you use in the businesses also can have a different meaning to people, and also can attract them in a way. Yeah. So the calm colors, the warm colors, the black colors. So they are all interpret a different meaning to a different individual. So there are people who loves to go to a very dark situation. Yeah? For example, as I mentioned just now, the Japanese bookstore here in Malaysia, they are using a very dark color in their bookstore. Yeah? And they use a lot of lighting. Yeah? And also they use a very soothing music. And this kind of feelings, they will create some kind of enthusiastic and also some kind of emotion to a different shoppers. Okay, so this is also the interpretation of a different color to different people. All right, next one is in terms of the signs, symbols, and also artifacts. So the using of the signs, the symbols, and artifact is very, very important in the businesses. If you see at the shopping mall, yeah, because shopping malls, they are very huge, so they need to have lots of signs, symbols, and artifacts to guide the customer where to go. Yeah. So it communicates the firm's image, the way you use it, and not confusing the customers. Yeah. So it helps the customers find their way, facilitate the shopping experience of the customer. So it will be very, very grateful to the customer. First time customers will automatically try to draw meaning from the signs and symbols. Similarly, the parking lots, yeah, when you have a big shopping mall, you will have a big shopping parking lot as well. And most of the time, the parking spaces, they are very confusing. So the use of signs, symbols, and artifacts that will help facilitate the customers find their way in and out from the parking lots. Yeah. Okay, so all in all, I have come to the conclusion now. Selection of environmental design elements. Yeah. So now people are more towards environment concern. Yeah. So people more concerned about the environment because we don't want to live in a very bad environmental situation. Yeah. With the haze, for example, with the smokes from the vehicles and so on and so forth. So there are businesses which supports the environmental design here. Yeah? So they are using uh, the product and services which is very uh, safe to the environment. The furniture in the businesses also very safe to the environment. Yeah? So the recycle furnitures, the recycle books, for example, all of these things will support the environmental design and the way they design the layout using the environmental product, for example, is also one way to support the environmental environment. Yeah. Okay. What is it? The tools to guide the servicescape design. Keen observation of the customer behavior and response. As I mentioned here, it's very important for us to understand the behavior of our customer. It's very important for us to understand the feelings, the needs, and the wants of the customer because we exist with the objective to serve the customer. Yeah? The product, the services that we have, because we want to sell it to the customer. Therefore, we have to make sure that we take care of the customer. And in order to take care of the customer and understand their customer, we need to make observation. Observation can be using the eye observation and also using the research or survey observation. Yeah? Feedback and ideas from the frontline staff and customers are also very important too. The employees, as I mentioned, is also very important to the organization. The businesses must take care of their employees. If their employees is not satisfied, they have to make sure that the employees' welfare being taken care of. Yeah. And also field experiments can be used to manipulate. Yeah. So you can use the customers coming to your shop and use your businesses, your company or your shop as a laboratory, yeah, to examine the behavior of your customers. And blueprinting is also very important to the service, especially for the service providers. The first thing that they have to do is to provide or to produce a blueprint, the service mapping, yeah, because service is very intangible. Yeah. You cannot see with your eyes, you got to only experience it. Therefore, you need to lay out how is it going on from one step to the last step. Yeah? That is about the blueprinting. Okay, so as a summary, the service environment will shape customer experiences and behavior. It facilitates the service encounters and enhances productivity. So when everyone is happy, your customer is happy, your employees is happy, of course, it will enhance the productivity of your employees. Yeah? Mehrabian stimulus, Russell's stimulus response model and Russell's model of effect help us to understand customer responses to service environment. So when we want to do research about the consumer, perhaps it's best for us to use these two models. It's very popular models to use what are the construct, what are the dimensions, what are the factors that we have to use when we want to understand consumer responses to service environment. Yeah? And about the main dimension of servicescape here, ambient conditions, spatial layout and functionality, signs, symbols, and artifacts. Yeah? Ambient condition is involve the music, sense, and color, as we discussed earlier. Okay, and finally, when putting it all together, the businesses or the firms, they must design a servicescape or landscape of the service or landscape of the shop with a holistic view. Holistic view, it has to consider the feedback from all parties, not only one party. Yeah? from the organization side, from the supplier side, if you have a supplier, from the customer side, and also from the employee side. It means that you have to look at in a very wholesale view. Yeah? But you have to design it from a customer's perspective, what customers liking and disliking about the things that you put in your business or in your firms. And use tools to guide servicescape design, those that we discussed just now, yeah? That about how do we do observation, how do we do surveys, and how do we design all the 4 dimensions that we have earlier, the ambience, the sign, the symbol, the artifacts, and so on and so forth. So when you put it all together, the things that we have discussed earlier, the businesses will have a good service environment. So they got to serve their customers better. The picture that I put it here is the Harrods restaurants in London. Yeah, Harrods is very famous boutique in London. So the food store is very, very huge, and also there's a lot of foods available there, from Asians to Westerns to Arabics food, and so on and so forth. Okay? And the layout of the store is also very pleasant. So if you have the opportunity to go travel. Yeah. So we got to see a different kind of layout of the services available. So we got to get some information and insight from there as well in order to design our businesses and firm, right? So this is something that for you, perhaps you can discuss with your friends or with your lecturers, yeah? Things to give more insight about the service environment that we have discussed today. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this incredible course that you have given to us. And maybe we come to the question and answer session. Maybe there are a question from the participant, from Bobi Indrawan, Satya, or Zulfadli.
Okay, so how many participants we have?
There are 3 right now.
So you are already in examination week or what? Or already semester break?
We are in semester break already, ma'am.
Oh, semester break already.
Yeah.
I
The
see.
examination is maybe.
How long is your semester break?
It's about 3 months, but I'm part-timing in working, so maybe I'm just 1 month or 2 months.
Okay. So you are already in your final year.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're doing internship?
Yeah, I'm doing internship right now, so I'm doing my thesis also. So it's quite.
Oh, your final year project?
Yeah.
Wait, what are you? I mean, what course are you taking? Marketing?
It's marketing as well.
I see.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe there's a question from participant.
Okay.
I think there are not.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Maybe
I'm happy to be here.
Okay, how about Zulfadli? Do you have a question?
No, sir. So far is no.
Okay, so first no. Or maybe Bobby, Satria.
Sorry.
Okay. If there are no question, maybe we can close the course right now. So
Yeah,
thank
all
you so
of
much.
you. It's okay. All of you from the 4th year.
For the participant itself, they are from different university.
I see. Oh, from
Yeah.
different university. I
Yeah.
see. Right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. All the best in your studies.
Yeah.
Thank you
so much, ma'am.
Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.